When's the last time you took a cut, my man?
I don't take cuts. Okay, but
Man, but like think back.
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been many years.
Years.
I don't take the cut. But my schedule's set. You know what I mean? My schedule's a set schedule. I've been in my job for a good amount of time. And
you never been over it and just be like, yo, I'm out.
Well, if I've been over it, I won't walk in the door. I'll not, I'll give up the shift before it even happens.
No, but that I'm talking showing up, taking the cut.
Oh, no, because I don't work, I work 4 days a week. I have 3 days off. So by the time...
You got to make it happen.
Yeah, it's time to make it happen by that point.
Hi, welcome to the Modern Waiter Podcast. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter, where we discuss all things restaurant business. Learn something. Laugh at something. On today's episode, we will discuss the pros and cons of taking reservations. It is a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Let's get right into it, but first, the intro.
Tired of working deadbeat jobs for lame pay. I'm tired of getting fired and hired the same day. If you know the rules of the game, then you'll stay. And if you don't, then you'll...
As usual, I'm joined by my good friend, Danny DeVilla.
What's up, people?
Before we start the show, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We are gaining new followers each and every day, and it's really good to have you. If you're listening on the audio podcast, welcome. If you're listening to us on...
if you're checking us out on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah. Welcome again. Let's get right into it with reservations, taking reservations versus not taking reservations.
Yes.
And there's pros and cons to both sides. We're going to discuss that. First of all, let's decide what a reservation actually is.
Okay.
Some people think that when you make a reservation, you're going to show up at a restaurant at 8:30 or 8 o'clock or 7:30, and there's going to be an empty table waiting for you because we made a reservation. So we should stroll right in and sit right down.
And in most cases, it's probably to that degree.
Really?
For the most part. That's the idea of the reservation itself. Now,
no, it's not. That's the illusion of the reservation. But the reality of the reservation is that you're next.
Yes.
When you check in,
that is the
we're
truth.
going to seat you with the next table.
The next available table.
The next available table. If it happens to be open,
you're good to go.
The illusion has been...
The illusion has became reality.
Yes. But, temper your expectations because... It is wildly irresponsible of a restaurant to just have...
Especially if they're a busy restaurant. And you don't want to be in a spot that's not really that busy.
Correct. Correct.
So if you're going to a spot that's probably taking reservations, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I also work in a spot that does take reservations, and there's a reason why for that. We'll get into that as well.
You kind of blew through that. I didn't even understand what you said.
The reason why people take reservations?
But you said you work at a place that what?
That doesn't take reservations.
Oh, okay.
And there is a reason why for that as well.
Okay, so we'll get into that. And have you ever had people? I've had people come to our restaurant and say, "We want to sit where no one else is. We want to sit in."
So go home.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. What damn restaurant has no people in it? And we're going to sit and shield you so that you don't want anyone around you.
If you wanted a private room, you could rent out. In your restaurant used to do that. I don't know if they still do, but you could rent out the entire restaurant. But that's not going to cost you the price of dinner.
It makes... good luck. Oh, we don't want anybody around us. Why'd you come out?
Yeah, and I know, actually, there are restaurants like that. They're very, if you go to, a Capitol Grill or something there's some high-end spots that I know have private rooms, okay? But that's...
I'm talking 2 top, 3 top, 4 top. Private rooms aren't getting a 4 top.
No,
it's going to be at least 8 to 10.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's not what they're talking about because a private room is set up. You're walking in, and you're deciding that you're a moron, that you think that you're going to come to a business that then doesn't have any business.
What, you don't want to be in that kind of spot anyways.
Apparently they do.
Well, whatever.
It just struck me because it happens
a nice
more
quiet
often
spot
than you think. I get the sentiment.
Yeah, the nice quiet spot. There are certain, yes.
I get the sentiment.
But eventually that part, even that quiet part of that restaurant is going to fill up.
You don't want to be somewhere where you can't hear the person next to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's obnoxious.
Yes.
But that's not what they were saying.
No,
especially with COVID, they want to be by themselves.
You were just by yourselves for almost 2 years.
Exactly.
Go be around some people.
Yeah. Go sit in the corner and think about what you just told me. Now that we get the reservation, when you have a reservation, you're really next. So, what's acceptable for you to wait for your table on a reservation?
So
0 to what is acceptable?
Up to 10 minutes if it's a smaller group, less than 5. Okay.
Okay.
15 for a larger party. Before I ask any questions.
That's very well said. 15 for a larger party, because a larger party, you're talking, and that's actually probably one of the...
It's a space reason.
It's a space reason, and that's probably one of the things that you're going to find most smart restaurants are going to have that table available.
Yes.
Because that's a really tough thing to have these 3 tables in a row put together. What you may find, another large party might be there depending on when you made your reservation, if it's going to be like prime time.
Or like you just said, there's 3 tables, maybe 2 of the tables are clean, and the third table there's a guest that's finishing up.
Yeah.
So that's where you run into an issue, because like it's harder to get to get 3 tables in a row.
Yes.
Especially if you're going to have business flowing. You don't want to have, because as a restaurant, we don't want to have empty seats. We want to accommodate, but we also don't want to have empty seats.
Yes. That's the age-old conundrum right there. That is. Now, you're going to find what you mentioned earlier, the expectation. The larger parties are usually going to have the table sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah.
Because in the case of a 10 top that can accommodate anywhere from 7 to 10, maybe 12 people, that they're going to reserve that.
Yeah, they're going to put it aside.
likely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're going to have that waiting. At least an hour before they're like, okay, we got to set up for this party.
We got to set up for this party.
Yes.
So usually that's usually what will happen. So you come to the reservation. Let's talk about the pros of an establishment taking reservations. It really helps them. The pro number 1, it helps them to organize their seating capacity.
Absolutely.
So when you have a reservation, you're gonna know how many people you're gonna accommodate for. Let's go. You say you go by the hour. Or by the turn, first turn, second turn, whatever the case may be. You're going to be able to manage that seating to ensure that customers have their tables when they arrive, to make sure that the kitchen's not going to be bombarded with tables, and make sure that you're staffed appropriately. That to me is one of the biggest pros. What do you think?
Absolutely. It gives you, like at your spot, it also gives you the ability to control labor, which is one of the most important things in a restaurant anyways. Yeah. Where you guys at your spot, if you don't have enough covers, you cut people before they even walk in the door.
True. Now that's pro number 2 is when you take reservations, you can manage your staff and your food supply and things like that. Particularly in the front of the house, the staff can be modulated. It can be either bloated or, I don't want to say bloated because that's a relative term. However, managing staff is key when it comes to reservations, because as we go into the flip side of it, the cons, when you don't take reservations, you have to have that.
You have to be fully staffed.
You have to be fully staffed,
and then you cut accordingly.
There you go. And I think that's why you and I experience cuts differently. Yeah. My restaurant takes reservations, yours doesn't.
Absolutely.
So I get the cuts beforehand. Everyone has to show up.
Yep. And then we cut accordingly.
When's the last time you took a cut, my man?
I don't take cuts. Okay, but
I knew that. Man, but like think back.
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been many years.
Years.
I don't take the cut. But my schedule's set. You know what I mean? My schedule's a set schedule. I've been in my job for a good amount of time. And
you never been over it and just be like, yo, I'm out.
Well, if I've been over it, I won't walk in the door. I'll not, I'll give up the shift before it even happens.
No, but that I'm talking showing up, taking the cut.
Oh, no, because I don't work, I work 4 days a week. I have 3 days off. So by the time...
You got to make it happen.
Yeah, it's time to make it happen by that
point. That's fair. That's fair. Well, now number 3, the pro for taking reservations, is that once you take reservations, you somewhat start to build a relationship with your customers. You are gathering information, vital information, whether it's an email, a phone number.
Or both.
And that's a way they can opt into you letting them know, hey, we have this happy hour, we have this specials coming up, we have this
Valentine's Day, whatever, holidays, all the above. Those, informational specials.
Yes, and that's vital. And I don't really think that too many. I don't say too many. The proactive restaurants take advantage of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And others just,
It is what it is.
I mean, but information is so valuable. All these, I don't care if it's open table, 7 rooms or whatever, that's a valuable resource to be able to understand your guest. You can also...
Demographically, all the above.
Yes.
This is how you know what your demographic is. This is how you know who's coming to dine at your spot. I mean, which is a demographic. But in general, this is how you know, birthday-wise, or if they're coming just for birthdays, or if they're coming for this.
Yes.
Anniversaries. It gives you a picture of what you're dealing with.
Yes. It gives you a picture of if they're first-time guests, if they've made 20 reservations with you, and then because then you could build notes into it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, from my experience, I think that's wildly underused.
Yeah.
Building the notes, having asked questions. Oh, is this your first time? Are you bringing guests or this and that?
Yeah.
So-and-so, Mr. So, and you use that because people feel good.
You can specialize the experience.
Yes. When we
had Naheem on the show, remember?
True.
Remember he talked about that a lot, just like how they did that at the restaurant he was working at the time.
Yes.
How they made the guests specialize the experience just through the reservation.
And they built a really in-depth notes on all their guests. I think it's such an older place, and I don't want to. I've never been, so I got the feeling that it's a smaller place.
Maybe.
I can imagine if you're just.
But it's 100 years old, right? It was one of those older restaurants.
Yes, it's one of those older restaurants in New York City.
Yeah.
Keens, I believe.
So. Yeah.
And so he marveled at how well they knew their guests. But I think that you can kind of even scale that back to if you're doing more volume, you still need that relationship with guests.
You have. I don't do reservations, at my job, but we still have a great. We're in an area where all the other restaurants around us are, 80-20 or 90-10 tourists to to regulars. We're a 60-40 record. We're a 60-40 spot.
Okay.
Which is pretty much unheard of in that area of the beach.
Yeah.
Because we have 40% regulars and 60% of straight tourists.
You've been there for a long time.
Been there for a long time. Hey, you have relationships with a lot of different people at the bar and just, the regulars that come in. So you can see that.
Yeah. And it helps because regulars will prop you up.
Absolutely.
When an event happens like a hurricane or something that, tourists aren't going to be able to travel or want to travel or anything like that,
they'll float us.
Regulars.
Yeah, they float you.
Yeah. Especially in the summertime.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When we're out of season, it's, that's what you rely on.
That's what you rely on, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So you definitely need that information, that customer base, build that relationship. And I'm a big believer in that. And I find that when I go places and they just kind of, I've made one of my favorite restaurants, City Fish Market, they do a good job with that. They really look at the notes, see how many times I've made reservations and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah, they acknowledge those things. They call me by my name, and that matters. And
we had just went out to a nice dinner, and when we walked in the door, they knew you by name, and they've never seen you for in their life. I thought that was amazing.
Yes, and the difference between a host or maitre d', well, let me not even. There's a big difference.
There's a big difference.
But sometimes when a host just says, do you have a reservation? And then that's it. You say, oh, right this way. You missed that opportunity.
Yes. You didn't connect with the guest.
You didn't connect with the guest.
You just did a job. There's a big difference between connection and doing a job.
Nothing wrong with doing your job.
No, and we're not mad at you for doing your job.
Not mad at you for doing your job. But the difference is they need to be trained up. And I barely ever blame people for not doing certain things.
Yeah.
I blame... Well, not blame, but you start to look at how were you trained, what's your expectations, what expectations were set for you.
Absolutely.
And if they weren't set any precedent, then of course they're just going to do that. But just even being called Mr. Joseph.
Yes, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and
on the way out as well, and it was very heartfelt, very friendly and all that stuff. And I was like, Okay.
No, it was solid. You could
solid.
tell that was like in myself. I was like, see, I was like, oh, I even go, that's the maitre d'. I knew that wasn't the host. I go, that's the maitre d', right? He goes, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And he engaged and he even knew other people and things like that. So that to me is a good first impression.
Absolutely.
And so moving on to number 4, taking reservations can help better manage your wait times. Mm-hmm. When you don't take reservations, the
wait is the wait.
The wait
is the wait.
It could be ferocious.
Yeah.
And you could also lose people that
Absolutely.
way. I've been to, particularly the places that you turn up and you put your name down and you're waiting in your car for that buzzer thing. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with it. I've done it. But I can imagine it's mostly breakfast places, lunch places, casual dining and things like that. But if I'm out to a decent dinner, I want to know that I'm not going to be sitting for 45 minutes waiting to eat.
And people call my job because we're a nice spot, but at the same time we are like that. But we don't do like the buzzing. But same idea. You know what I mean? And what we have to tell people is there's this window. And it's the same in your restaurant, any restaurant.
Yeah.
There's a time slot when you are the busiest, when you're going to wait the longest. And that is the time when people want to sit. Okay?
Yeah. Tell people how every phone call happens at your place.
Oh, man. So the first question is, do you take reservations? And I tell them, no, we're first come, first serve. And then they'll go, what time, how long the wait's going to be at 7:30? And I go, in my head, I'm like, dude, if I knew how long the wait was going to be, I wouldn't be, if I could see the future, I wouldn't work in this industry. I would have hit the lotto a long time ago.
Without fail. They always say, for whatever time they wanted the reservation, is it going to be busy at 7:30?
Is it going to be busy this time? Yes. Most likely, yes. Okay.
I always tell them that, I give them a range of when it's usually busy. And I said, beyond that, we are an inside outside, so weather permitting, it could be better or it could be worse.
Yes,
because some seating may be taken away from us by the wind, the rain,
absolutely,
the sun, whatever.
Depending on the time of day, you're right.
Depending on the time of day, and so I get it. You want to know that you have plans when you show up.
Absolutely, and it makes sense to have them.
And it makes sense,
and we're not arguing that fact. Now, sometimes I'll get a phone call. My funniest thing is, we are a busy spot. Mm-hmm. I remember on Friday I got a call at 6:55 to see if they could get a 7:30 reservation, and I go it's first come first serve. But in my head I'm like, dude, if I took them, your girlfriend would be pissed off at you because you weren't getting it until next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ain't even trying.
That's not even trying.
That's a call ahead. That ain't a reservation.
That is horrendous. Okay. I'm like, are you? And I get those more than not, which is kind of funny. I'm like, are you people really? Expectations. I think we one of the things. Let's talk about expectations.
Yes.
When it comes to a reservation.
That's one of them as well. When you make a reservation, you have an expectation, whether it's what your dining experience is going to be like, how long you're going to wait to get sat, which is your expectations are usually no. I'm not waiting. You get upset when you say, "Oh, just take a seat."
But I had a reservation.
But I had a reservation. So I'll put that into con side.
Yeah.
That because the expectation when you take a reservation is so high, whatever you bring with your idea of what your restaurant experience should be, you place that
right away.
Yeah, exactly.
So we went out to a nice dinner recently. Mm-hmm. And tell them how far in advance you made the reservation.
It was a month.
Exactly.
It was a month.
And why?
Because it was a large party. That's next on the list of advantages or pros to taking a reservation. It helps you to manage large parties. How many times have we had at my restaurant with reservations? Oh, it's a walk-in 13 top or whatever, and everybody's scrambling because you want the business.
You want the money.
We're not here to take.
We don't want to turn people away. I don't think any restaurant wants to turn money away.
Not why not why we're here.
No.
But it puts a little bit of stress onto everyone to make that happen.
Absolutely.
And so when you turn up as a large party, you have to understand that you're going to be most likely waiting or turned away. We've had to turn away before because there's simply no way.
We can't do it.
There's asses in the seats.
Already. And there's reservations behind those asses in the seats.
Correct. Sorry. And so when you really covet, and I could only imagine if something falls apart somewhere else and you need to scramble, hey, let's do this. Say you burned a turkey, let's go out to dinner and all that stuff. It's better for you to just break up into fours.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Because I've had people, here's another thing that I don't understand about large parties. People come in and they say, oh, we are 20 or 22. I've had this many times. If you're not in the restaurant business and then you show up as 20 and they say, oh, but we want to sit together at one table.
That table doesn't exist.
No, that's fine. We'll push all that stuff together. But sometimes we have to put you at individual tables, like maybe
a 6
2 or 3 big tops.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And they get all put out. We wanted to be together. I understand the sentiment. But please imagine if you're at this end of the 22 top, you are not having a conversation or even eye contact.
You're not even looking at the person 10 seats down. Because if it's a 20 and it's a long table, it's 10 and 10. So or even past 3 seats.
Thank you.
You're only in that group of 6 anyways.
Thank you. But they get so indignant about it, and I try to say you're neither going to see, hear, or interact.
You were better off with the 3 rounds with 6 people. This way you can actually get up.
You can turn around.
You get up from your table. Oh yeah. You're back. You turn around. You talk.
Yes.
Like at a wedding. You know, you've been to nice weddings and they'll have like the rounds, and then you have you're assigned at your table. You might not be with everybody you want to be with, but eventually you're gonna still see those people.
Yes.
You're still gonna go mingle with those people.
That's that, and so when you put it to them like that, it's more efficient. We are here for you, so you just got to sit back. Yes, you have your idea, and sometimes when or at your place when you come into the, let's say, the fireplace room, and they say, oh well, we want to put these. So I said, it's not
even built that way.
We can't even fit.
Yeah, unless we do it this way.
30 in a row. We can do it in theory, but for every
the room
2
holds
tables
32 people. Yes, we can put 32 people in here, but they can't all be together. It's your whole room. Enjoy the room as a whole.
Think about the physics of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Table 1, table 2. This holds 4. This holds 4. This
holds 6 or 7.
Holds 6. Maybe 7.
Maybe 7.
For every table you push together, you lose a seat. 2 seats.
Yes.
2 seats you lose. This one and that one. So, and if they're perfectly square, then that's a thing. But, they try to push you around, and you're nice as possible. And I try to tell them, I said, for every 2 tables you put together, we lose 2 seats. So then one long table, it just, we want a horseshoe. Oh, yeah, me too. I want to give it to you. That's the thing. Sometimes they have this preface that they have to fight for everything. It's like, listen, I let them know. I'm on your side. Like, I'm here for you.
We're here for you.
But
we're trying to give you the best experience possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just relax.
Just chillax.
And I understand. There's some bad actors in the restaurant business, and they just want it their way because that's how they did it yesterday. I get that part. But sometimes you have to really just relax and let it happen. We're not going to put you over here and you're the rest of your party on the other side. You're going to be in the same vicinity.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes very next to each other. But my original point, if you come in as a walk-in, anything over 6,
it's going to be hard.
It's going to be tough.
You're going to wait.
You're going most likely you get away.
And that's no matter, no matter what time you get in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's earlier in the day or later in the day or in the middle of the rush. You're probably going to wait. And it might, now the wait is going to decrease substantially between what time of day you do it, but you're going to wait.
Remember a couple of years ago we tried to go to that place at the Hard Rock, and I think we had 7, like 1 over what a big 6 top would be.
They're like, we can't do it.
They said they gave us like 10:30. 10:30. They were like, and I wasn't even mad. We didn't go.
But yeah.
But they're like, 10:30.
That's when I can get you in.
That's when we can push stuff together for you. Other than that,
you're SOL.
You're out. So, and God bless them because they probably have the business to do it.
Yeah.
Is like when you don't have the business, you see restaurants doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, and that also mess up the expectation for people at the busier spots.
True. You're right. You're 100% right. But here's the thing. Once you start doing things that aren't optimal for your business, it's a slippery slope.
Absolutely.
You start going down because they did it last time, or you did it for them the last time, and then your expectations are just. Once you start letting the dog wag the tail wag the dog, it's an issue.
Yeah, you have to have control of your situation.
You have to have control in your restaurant because they're not in the business, you are. So you have to act like it. You know, like this whole customer is always right. The customer is always the customer, but you have to be the person to understand what's best.
You have to guide their
for
experience.
The customer. Yeah. Like a kid wants what they want, but you're a parent.
Exactly.
You know, so
be the parent.
You have to be the parent.
Yes.
And be fair, but be the parent.
No, absolutely.
And so, as we talk about the pros, the cons kind of pop up.
Yeah.
So let's
slide through the cons.
Let's slide through the cons. I like that. Now, the cons of taking reservations is taking reservations.
Yes. Oh, it's time consuming. It takes manpower. It takes.
Systems,
multiple. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna have your job has open table, right?
I think so at the moment. Yeah. We flip flop.
Okay, but then on top of that, there's gonna be people that are gonna call the restaurant. So you need somebody that's there answering the phone as well as what you're running through open table. So you have to combine the two systems.
Yes, particularly when we had abbreviated hours for the pandemic and we weren't open for lunch. We still had to have people in the building to take reservations. In the daytime.
In the lunch hour, yeah.
Yeah, when we weren't even open. And so, open table, it's not free.
Yeah.
Okay? So then that's a consideration. And then you are beholden to their system, how they do things. And so that's a con.
Yeah.
You know, it's not your own proprietary.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you don't prescribe to open table, there are some disadvantages. If people see you on the internet, are they going to click through to your website and to your personal reservation system? Are they going to click through and then find your number and then call you? So the further steps you take,
you try to make it easy for people. You try to make it as easy as possible for people. At the same time, it can be taxing on both ends.
Yes. So yes, it does take resources. The other issue with, and these kind of melt together, taking reservations, you deal with no-shows.
Oh,
you don't take reservations, you take what you get.
I don't take reservations and we deal with no-shows. Like with our large parties. Because we obviously, like we said earlier in the show, if you're going to have a large party, you're even when at a spot that doesn't take reservations, they probably will take a reservation for a large party.
Yeah.
We do 12 to 15 or more in my job, just because you don't have the space. You have to have it in the books if you need something bigger than that.
Yeah. And I know this is not the topic of the podcast. I'm really curious to know, what does your restaurant do to hold reservations? Do they take a credit card? How do you minimize?
How do you minimize no shows?
How do you minimize no shows?
And I think that's a great idea. I mean, we were talking about, you have no problem. I think we spoke about it just personally, that you have no problem leaving a deposit if you're going to show up.
Or a credit card number and
anything.
Things like that. Yeah. Something that shows good faith that, I really intend on being here at this time. Some places, we charge you $45
We were in Vegas or
person.
somewhere. We were somewhere and they asked for a card, right?
One place that we considered going on our not trip. The previous reservation, I had to put a credit card.
Okay.
And they stated, for every person that didn't, that below what your reservation is, or a cancellation within a certain amount of hours, they would charge. They would charge whatever.
Which makes sense. I mean, when you book something at a hotel, at the airport. I mean, when you're flying, there's always going to be something you need a credit card just to hold it. Even if you don't pay it till you get there, they still want a credit card on file. Yeah,
I'm completely fine with it, because what happens is, it's not that I just want to be charged, no problem if I'm not going to go, but I'm going to make sure that I marshal everyone and say, hey, you're going to be there. If we're not going to be there, we need to cancel by this time.
Yeah, it holds accountability.
Yes.
Okay, and with a lot of reservations, there is no accountability. Like, you can double book, you can pick 3 or 4 different spots. Like, let's say if I'm on open table, maybe if I have the ability on open table to be like, well, they don't have the time I want, I'm going to book at another spot for the time I do want, or I'm going to see what I can get in.
Yeah.
And that's how no-shows happen.
That's how no-shows happen. And that's another con.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're taking reservations here, there, and there. And so I liked, when I worked at your place, I liked the fact that we didn't take reservations. And now that I'm here, I like the fact that we do.
Well, it's because they're whole different animals. The restaurant is different, like
different locations.
And locations. It really breaks down if you do need reservations or if you don't.
True. Yeah, location and style of restaurant.
Yeah,
for sure. And so, what do you think would change for you if you took reservations, good or bad?
It would be like I think our biggest issue would be the no shows because we're in such a we're in a busy area. I think people there's options. So when you have an abundance of options, it's easy to walk away and go find something else.
True.
Whether or not it's the better option or not, people want what they want when they want it.
True.
So and that's what would fall. We would have open seats and then we eventually go back to how we do it now.
True. Because it works very well for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And another con of taking reservations is that it limits the potential walkaways, like you said. Because people see open tables and they tell that they can't seat, they're not going to wait. They're going to,
they're going to go.
Yeah. But if you don't take reservation, come on in. The seat's just for you.
It's
waiting for you. And so we touched upon a lot of things, but a lot of these do.
A lot of things going to meld together, but we're going to bring it home for you guys.
Yes. And so speaking of bringing it home for you, yes, please let us know. I'm very curious if you too also have an issue holding reservations, or you have no issues because you implemented this policy or that policy at your restaurant. Very, very gracious to everyone who reaches out. We get wonderful communication. Good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm currently working on some shows to solve some problems for some people. So thank you for reaching out. I answer each and every email, themodernwaiter@gmail.com, or message on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at the
responds to all that
podcast. Stuff. Yes. And I try to share as much as I can with Danny, but in the moment, it's really, And so that's our show for this week. We're grateful for you. We're grateful for growing. Share, like, subscribe. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter.
I'm Danny Villain. Subscribe, people.
We'll see you next time.
Later.
Tonight, all y'all people gon' bounce.